Welcome back. This is Cats Connection News. I'm Curtis Klein.
I'm Tyler Wikoff.
We are here today to interview what you're doing today as a teacher.
What I'm doing today as a teacher.
Yeah, not today, but all the time.
I was going to say today we actually did a lot of reviewing because there's a lot of exams coming up tomorrow. But in general, what am I doing? Well, currently going to school to become a full-time educator. Currently, right now at Mount Olive, I've been observing a specific teacher, which you might touch on later. But I've been kind of observing those first couple of weeks that we came back. But right now, I've really kind of jumped into things, and I'm actually in charge of 3 different classes. So there's a lot going on, but I'm enjoying it so far.
How's your first week been? Has it been stressful at all, especially with these new exams coming out of your classes you're observing?
The very first week?
Yeah.
The very first week, I was a nervous wreck. I did not want to be here. I was, sitting off in the corner and at my desk and kind of just taking notes. I'm like, I'm an imposter. I don't belong here. It's, again, that imposter syndrome that hits everybody. But talking to my cooperating teacher, who's Mr. Simmons, I was like, okay, I do belong here, and I got this, and it's going to be a good semester. So after that initial period of unease and uncertainty, really started to get into things, started to get to know the students, and now I love coming to work. I think it's awesome. So,
why did you really want to be a teacher? Is there any specific reason?
Yeah, so I love answering this question. I think this is one of the best questions that people ask. I remember being in high school, and I always felt like the teachers that I connected most with and the people that made the biggest difference in my life were the ones who realized that in high school, you guys are 2 years away from becoming adults. And us adults, whether we want to accept it or not, when you guys hit age 18, you're going to have an input in our society. And so I think it's really important that high school teachers accept that and embrace that and get to know these new generations that are coming up, so we can continue to have a productive society. I think that's often forgotten, and that's really one of the main reasons I wanted to become educators, because I love politics, I love history, the social sciences, and it's something that we've neglected as a society for a long time. Is we always tend to look at the younger generations that, they're fools, they're ignorant. But you guys have great ideas. You guys have excellent ideas, and I want to hear them because, like I said, a couple of years you're going to be voting. You're going to be at the same level as I am in terms of where we are in society, and I think it's important that we begin building those bonds as quickly as possible, so we can have a successful society. Obviously, I am older than you, but that doesn't mean we can't work together whenever you achieve that age of 18 and actually are thrust into our society. So
yeah, no, I completely agree, especially when most kids are in high school. They really just don't want to maybe learn more. They're kind of afraid of what they want to do when they're older, right, especially
absolutely.
Going to college. Like me, for example, I'm in my junior year, going to my senior year, still don't know what to do.
Yeah. And that's another great reason that I want to be teachers, that I was right there with you. It took me about 3 years to figure out what I wanted to do. I originally went to school for business, believe it or not. I actually saw, this is crazy, but I went to see The Wolf of Wall Street in theaters. I was still in high school. And if you're not familiar with The Wolf of Wall Street, it's about this corrupt stockbroker. I thought it was awesome. What he did was highly illegal, but I thought it was awesome. So I was like, I'm going to be a stockbroker. I'm going to live, this lavish lifestyle and party. And I got to college, took macroeconomics. I was out. I went to one macroeconomics course, and then I just skipped the rest of it. And I was like, I'm not doing it. So then after that, I just took about a year off and kind of reflected on life and what I wanted to do. And that's actually when I went into mass communications. And I went to Southeast Missouri State University and learned all about how broadcasting works, journalism. So I learned journalism law. I learned literally camera operation, sound systems, how to make a movie. I have a student film actually on YouTube. It is out there. But I did that. I loved it. And I graduated right when COVID started taking off. I had a job with ESPN while I was going to school. And I was set up to continue that job. But then, as I just said, COVID hits and that job was out the window. So then 2020, 2022, again, I was, we're all locked down. And I was like, what do I want to do with life? Like, is this really what I want to do? Or, so it was just a profound time of thinking. And that's really when I said, I think I want to be a teacher. And then so here we are today.
Yeah.
So it takes time. Is what I'm saying. Is it takes time to figure out what you want to do, and that's all right.
Do you do any more broadcasting now, or do you just don't do?
I don't. I would love to. Like I love the set that we have here. I think this is awesome. But if I could get back behind the camera, I would. I do like small films by myself a lot. I do a lot of video editing. I love Adobe After Effects. Like I was really into After Effects when I was in college. So I love doing special effects. I will say, like, for example, the student film that I, made, there's a whole scene where one of the main characters, his head gets chopped in by an axe and like blood flies everywhere. Practical effects, like 80s style. And just hearing the audience react, that visceral reaction to just seeing like this blood splatter, I loved it. So I love special effects. So I do dabble in that. Every now and again, I'll have friends who are like, well, I'm shooting this, small film, or I'm shooting this YouTube video, help me out. But really just the large scale productions, I don't really do anymore. I would love to. It's just kind of, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
In the future, when you have like more time on your hands, when you eventually become a teacher, would you ever do any more stuff like on your own, like YouTube channel or like a broadcast sort of thing?
I'd love to. I don't know how, or I don't know. Unfortunately, I think it's risky just because the audience that is on teachers all the time, you have to be this professional figure. But admittedly, like you guys, I do play video games. There's no denying that. And there always has been in the back of my mind. I feel like it's an untapped market, but I do feel like there's potential there for an educator to start like a Twitch channel or something, and be known as that guy who's a teacher, but then also has a good time, playing video games with people online, just to show that, you can appreciate education, but it doesn't mean you don't know how to have a good time and enjoy life.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we should mix more formality and also more like a chill, like vibe, because I feel like that relates with the students more about the formality. You like get work done, you produce the work for the students. It's like the Twitch channel idea you had. I feel like that would maybe get you like for your students to know you better.
I think it makes you human.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens is that we forget that, educators are human just like you. We make mistakes. We have joys. We have fears. We have biases. And that's just forgotten. And I think that really does hinder education. I think building those human bonds is what helps. Something that I love discussing with educators here in America is the fact that if we look at other countries, especially like Denmark and those nations, where education is very important and is actually very high, they refer to their teachers by their first names. And it's because, again, it's that human connection. It's showing them that, yes, I'm an educator, but I'm not this ruler over you. You are a human. I see you as a human being, just as I'm a human being. And so it's that first name basis. And I think that allows a closer connection, which allows stronger learning. So I think we need to begin embracing that kind of ideology where we need to make it clear to our students, I'm not here to be an authoritative figure. I'm here to literally help you. That's what I want, is I want to see you guys succeed. So,
It's a great, like my sister, she just got out of college. She went to SIUE.
Okay.
In Arizona. That's how her professors was. Like she was worried that her professors would be super like formal, super strict on what she does. But she had papers that were like 3 weeks late, 2 weeks late, and they're just super chill about it. They're just more worried about her actually learning what she's paying there to be for, than actually just making sure you get homework done like on the spot.
Right.
Like they wanted you to turn your stuff in, but at the same time they just wanted a more like what you said, more human like interaction.
Right.
Like she called her professor by his first name.
Yeah. And I think that really, it's a balancing act. It really is a balancing act where things like deadlines are important. But just don't get too worked up over it. Because you have no idea what's going on in someone's life. For all you know, their pet could have passed away and they're just really struggling with it. So the idea that, you need to be on a student's case just because a paper is 1 or 2 days late, I don't jive with that really. Because again, I've been there. I know it. I know how it is. So it does bring me hope that, as you just said, other educators are starting to embrace that kind of ideology though. So
Back on the school topic again, like we were just talking about. What do you think of the staff in Mount Olive?
Terrible. Just awful. No, I think it's been great, especially working with Mr. Simmons. Again, just building bonds takes some time, but I'm starting to build that bond with him. We're working basically as co-teachers. We help each other out, so he's great. Mr. Lesko's kind of questionable, but I think he's a good guy. Mr. Martin, great guy as well, great fashion sense. So yeah, I think I'm really enjoying the staff and overall culture here.
That's great. Yeah, it's a very small, like as you've seen, the elementary, junior high, and high schools all attached. So it's very small. You got to pretty much get to know everyone here. So it's more like very relaxed. It's not like bigger schools like Eversville or.
I was gonna say I went to Alton. I went to Alton High School. So I think my graduating class is the size of the entirety of your high school. There were like 200 some people in my graduating class. So that was just seniors.
Yeah, like last year, I think in our senior graduating, I think there was only like 11 or 10 people that graduated. And everyone passed. It's just that's how big the senior class was.
And that's what's been really interesting about Mount Olive. I've student observed at Alton. I've been to Jerseyville, but Mount Olive, it's very unique in that you guys are a small school, but the bonds that you guys have are just awesome. Like you guys are literally a family, a community here, and you just don't get that at large schools. At large schools, it's very authoritative. Like here's what you're going to do. Like for example, at Alton, I haven't been down to your cafeteria, but at Alton High, it's like, okay, here's the table you're assigned at. It doesn't matter if you know anybody at this table. This is the table you're going to sit at. And so it's very authoritative. That's the only way I can describe it. It's an authoritative environment, and that's not true here. Like it genuinely feels like a warm and welcoming place here, and I love it. So
yeah, it's honestly like I want to say great time. It's a good time. Like I enjoy it. I used to go to Eversville school.
Okay.
When the time I went, I was in middle school. It was huge.
Yeah.
Like our graduating class, for the seniors obviously, was around 178 people. I know that's not compared to Alton, but that's how our cafeteria was like. We actually had two cafeterias. We had the smaller cafeteria and a bigger cafeteria. I was in the bigger cafeteria, and they split us up by like name groups. So even if like your name group wasn't that big of a table, you'd still be at that certain table.
Right.
So our lunch time would be about like an hour and 30 long, because it would take just so long getting everyone to the table, and also like actually like giving people their lunch.
Yeah, time to eat and everything. Yeah. So,
but like how has been teaching Mr. Simmons classes been like how do you think the students are?
So again, at first it was I was nervous. The students obviously picked up on that, but as time goes on, that nervousness has faded, and now we're really beginning to build those bonds. It took me a while to learn names. That's always hard, but so at first it was bumpy, but now I would say we're finally hitting some calm seas, and things are going well. Things are going well. I like your jewelry. I like your spider ring.
Yes, very fancy spider ring. I just got it from this cup. This very fancy cup.
I think it's a nice accent to your outfit.
Love your cup.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I love your mini cats in your cup.
Yeah. There's quite a few in there. So, I mean,
what languages do you speak?
What languages do I speak? Well, in high school, I took French. I started actually. Let me rewind. My freshman year, I took German. Learned a little bit, so I'm not conversational in German. I can just say a few words. Hated it. Was not good at German at all. Ended up taking French my sophomore through senior year. Loved it. Actually went to Paris. So je parle un peu français. J'habite à Alton in Illinois. Je m'appelle Taylor. So I can get around in French. Spanish, believe it or not, I'm actually from Texas. My hometown is Corpus Christi. It's a beach town, so lots of surfing, and it's very close to Mexico. So there's a lot of Spanish speaking that goes on there. So hablas español? So I mean, my Spanish is rusty. It's more like Spanglish, so it's a mixture of English and Spanish. It's enough to where I can get around in Mexico. I've been to Mexico several times. So know how many languages? I would probably say I know one language, but I'm conversational in Spanish and then German. It's, I can just throw a few words around. But, and I guess, de kromina deskargadicia. So very basic Russian as well.
Where did you learn Russian? Did you learn Russian from also your school or?
For Call of Duty. I literally just told you to cover me. I'm reloading. So I literally just know like the most obscure things in Russian. So yeah, de kromina deskargadicia. So.
That's great, honestly. Like, if I could do that, which I cannot, I'm horrible at this stuff. Tried it for like maybe a month. Could pronounce like one word.
It's just yeah. I mean, like it's just repetition. You just got to keep saying it over and over again, and finally you just remember it. So, yeah, that's about it in Russian. It's just literally from playing, Call of Duty back when I was in middle school.
Oh God. Well, this was the Cats Connection news. This was a great interview, probably one of my best I've ever had. I hope you had a good time.
I had a great
interview.
Time. Yeah, it was great.
Well, I hope everyone has a good day. And this was Cats Connection news.